dragging the bottom for oh so long, but I can feel that power running strong. It's in the air, I can feel it now. The dragon's walls are crumbling.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. Leroy is in the green room. Good to have you here. Sorry that we're a couple minutes late. We had to get a few things organized for tonight's show, and then I realized I didn't change my lens. So it's the little things, folks. Got to change my lens, have Hayden come in and make me pretty, which is always so difficult. Pre-show is in full effect. Like I said, Leroy is here tonight in the green room. Really excited to have him. Should be a great show. There's already a crap ton of people on. I think everyone's pretty excited about the shows we've been putting on lately. I don't know if it's the new set or we're just hitting our stride, but it feels like a refresh or a reprieve, and I know I'm excited about it. We'll talk a little bit about Iran. We'll talk about the World War III that was the 7-second war. Ooh, was it crazy? We'll get Leroy's opinion on BDA. I'm going to break down the GBU 57, what it can and can't do, the myths, the lies, the deceit, and I will tell you why physics just has to go ahead and conclude that the mission was successful, but my good friend Leroy might tell us that that's different. What else? This show is brought to you by Wimkin, W-I-M-K-I-N, the #1 social media platform for free speech. 9 million people are on that show, and I'm not going to eat dog food on air. We're going to talk a little bit about that, how some of my conservative colleagues that don't know I exist shill themselves out for the dollar. We won't do that here. We only sell good stuff that we approve. By going to thedumbshow.com, pick up some coffee, some shirts, some hats, whatever else you want. We also have the bigger, better, faster shirt from Chuck. It's available there. Go get it. See you in 3 minutes.
Hey everybody, it's T.S. Dixon, author of The Woke Mind Viruses. And I want to tell you that I'm pleased to be part of The Dumb Show, the Don't Unfriend Me show that you can find every weeknight at 7 p.m. on social media at The Dumb Show or on their website, thedumbshow.com. See you there.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show.
I won't tell no lies. Back up on the
Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
I'm trying to figure out how to unban those people that my mods keep banning. Y'all, I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know if I can do it while... Wait. I think I got it. Okay, who else? John Haggart needs to be unbanned. He's one of our best. Hey, guys, can we stop banning people who are awesome to the show, who we love and care about? That would be awesome.
We need to be very, very kind of cautious with who we discriminate against coming on the show, because the bigger the audience, sometimes the more conflict there is on the show. Sometimes those are the shows with the best ratings.
Yeah, I don't want to ban people who challenge. I want to ban people who are complete jerks. Virgil, Kane, Redmond, Grant, Camney. I think everyone else I know. Susie Love. Oh, we can unban Susie Love. She's been gone for a while, I'm sure. Maybe this time will be different. Okay, I think we're good. All right. JD should be able to act now, and now we're good. Mods, naughty. All right. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. It was an accidental banning. No accidental banning here. We don't do that. No more. Leroy, welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show.
Leavenworth for 20 years
That's what I'm
by
saying.
accident.
Shame. It's going to be
good to be here. Hi, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. Hey, buddy. So here's the deal, y'all. Our good friend Leroy had a chance to be on the Eric Erickson show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we clipped it, and I got to say it was pretty cool. I challenge Eric sometimes, but I do enjoy listening to him. He's a smart guy. I think he plays both sides of the fence a little too much for me. And I think it's important to do that in analysis, but at some point you've got to take a stand. You got to say, hey, this is thou shall not pass type thing.
Right.
But anyway, it was good. Here it is. If you guys didn't hear it. Now this is really shortchanged because the good news is you probably heard this. Go ahead, buddy.
Just so that everyone is aware, I didn't use my real name on the radio because when I'm living in the same city where he's broadcasting, I tend to be a little cautious about like, oh my God, I recognize that voice. And that might be somebody that I happen to work with in the building, if you know what I mean.
Here's the cool thing is on the phone, you sound nothing like you. At all. Like I was struggling to find it because I could understand the pseudonym. But the name itself, I was like, yeah, that the sound, I was like, this doesn't sound like Leroy. So anyway, here it is. It's really quick. This isn't the full context. This is only like a 30-second clip, but it is kind of cool. Here it is.
Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I'm going to go to Dayton, Ohio. WHIO. Mike is listed up there. Welcome to the show, Mike. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you? Hey, this is the second time I'm calling in. You and I had a really great conversation last time about the strength of China.
Yes.
I am one of the intelligence analysts. Do you mind if I get in a quick plug here?
Go for it. I'll allow it.
Okay. I am one of the hosts of the Don't Unfriend Me show. It's a podcast, and we reference your show all the time.
Did you notice how he's like, oh yeah, he's heard of it. You know he's heard of it. By the way, we've got 500 people on.
Fascinating stuff. Listen, plug your podcast one more time.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
Thank Mike.
Yeah,
Mike,
can you hear me?
Give the name of your podcast one more time.
Yeah, so it's called the Don't Unfriend Me show. Facebook, X, Tumblr,
Perfect.
all of the major platforms. It's on every day from 7 p.m. And it's myself and another gentleman named Matthew Spear. We host it, and we are two former intelligence analysts.
Perfect. Mike, thanks very much. I appreciate that. Don't unfriend me either. 877.
Gotta love how he even plugged the show at the end. It was great. Of course, I cut that up, but hey, man, that was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. So
I get him in. Where I can, I get him in, right?
Well, it's important. We've got a lot of people on. 503 we just clicked. Twitter's going absolute viral for the live show. So welcome for Twitter people who've never seen us before. This is Leroy. My name's Matt. Olivia and Amy are off tonight, but they are here throughout the week. And what we do is we take a pretty nonchalant approach to discussing everything from politics, geopolitics to military, and even stupid stuff that virals on TikTok or Twitter. But mainly, we like to try to call out a little bit of the hypocrisy inside this crazy, insane matrix that we all live in. And we try to do it with some fair, impartial, most of the time, judgment. And there's nothing like good judgment to kind of get the juices flowing. Now, the one caveat to this is you have to base the things that we talk about on fact. And if you don't do that, you're probably going to fall pretty hard on this show. So you may not love it. It may bother you sometimes, but that's okay. You may not even love the host, and that's cool. There's a lot of people who hate my guts, but watch the show because it's quality content.
Everyone
hate Leroy.
Me.
Yeah, everyone loves Leroy.
Everyone
hate Leroy.
loves me.
Everyone loves Leroy. So let's get into the first thing, man. Hey, listen, I'm going to give you a chance, completely unmolested. Oh, by the way, hollandaise sauce over here, part due. Maddie has donated Mr. Howenitz $26.50 last night. He ended our donation, and that puts us at a new night of $300. We've crushed our goal since the first little bit disappointing night. So we are privately funded by you, the viewer. We don't have corporate sponsors. We don't believe in it. We hopefully never will. We would love to kind of keep that away from us. And if there is somebody who wants to throw just an inexplicable amount of money at us, we are for sale. Our morals and scruples are definitely for sale. So let us know. I have not had a chance to
say. It's funny because all that to say that, I mean, us being as independent as we are, we've gone through a number of endorsements from people like Ryan Weaver, Ryan Samuels, Eli Crane,
Roseanne
the
Barr,
Judge Janine, the Hodge
T.S.
twins,
Dixon,
Roseanne Barr. Yeah.
And we didn't pay, and Judge Janine, and we didn't pay them for that. So that's a good thing.
Is there anybody that we might be looking forward to coming on soon, Matt?
Ted Nugent we're in progress with Ted Nugent. We are also in progress with a gentleman from Texas who is a part of a 3-letter agency who is going to give us a border update. He is going to be coming on. We have T.S. Dixon, who's going to be in-house. We just have to schedule it. Barry Morgenstein has agreed to come out in-house. Damani Felder has agreed to come out in-house. So more of the same. This week's kind of slow. We're trying to get somebody. We should have somebody scheduled for Friday, we hope. But anyway, let's get into this. So I have not had a chance to talk to you, debrief, or just kind of chat it up. Why don't you tell me what you're thinking in regards to the strikes on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, and what your thoughts are in a unclassed, simple, you sitting in your living room opinion from somebody. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So you can, there's 2 schools of thought here. For the extreme critics of Donald Trump, they might look at this and say, oh my God, this is going to be a complete failure. And if you are one of the people who just take everything that Donald Trump says at face value, you would say, oh my God, all of those sites are completely destroyed, unusable. They will never be touched by man again. Now, for obvious reasons, I think that the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of that, right? And it could sway either way. From everything that I have gone through without disclosing anything, I'd say it is. It is somewhere in the middle. I would love to be able to support Donald Trump 100% and say, oh yeah, they are completely unusable for the next 100 years. Right before we came down here, I think it was DIA was referenced on NBC News, and it was a DIA report that said, no, those sites were actually only put offline for anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And so there's a big disparity there between they're never going to be operational again to, we only slowed them down by 3 to 6 months. I know that some of those assessments are still coming in. And from everything that I've seen, it does seem like it's going to be longer than 3 to 6 months. That's just a personal opinion. I do not speak on behalf of anybody. But that being said, from everything that I've seen, that damage did look pretty extensive.
So the good news is that between Leroy and I, we have quite a few years of experience in imagery analysis and working in intelligence, and we understand the complexities of our weapon systems fairly well. And even when I've been out for 26 years, it doesn't mean that let me explain something. Leroy isn't retired yet, but I promise you this, the staying power or the anesthetic that stays in the system when you leave intelligence doesn't necessarily leave you very quickly. And you can practically apply other weapon systems to newer weapon systems and see similarities. You can also understand the step process of innovation when it comes to weapon systems and understand that if something is it has a certain yield, a certain speed, a certain accuracy, that it's not going to usually jump light years in technology. It's slow upgrades. It's kind of like the iPhone. The iPhone 4 and the iPhone 5 were fairly similar and not much different. But if you take the iPhone 4 and take the iPhone 10, there is a world of difference, and it literally looks like alien technology to something that the pharaohs made. So weapon systems usually don't make that leap. Now, they have throughout history. When the sound barrier was broken, that absolutely made a huge difference. When certain chips were made, that makes a huge difference. When the first rocket engine was made, that makes a huge difference. And the ability to sustain hypersonic flight is also a huge difference. And then also to exceed the troposphere and the ionosphere and re-enter the Earth's orbit is also something that was pretty big. So there has been technology that has really leapt forward. But overall, weapon systems fairly much stay the same, minus a modicum of just small increments of growth. So when we look at something like the GBU-57, I will tell you that the GBU-57 is a monumental leap in what all other bunker busters can do. And I will just tell you this, which Leroy can't, is that the GBU-57 isn't the top tier of the spear when it comes to a bunker busting device. Now, I certainly will not talk about it any further than that, but just the existence of itself is unclassified. And it was put out all over the State Department. Thank God for the State Department who talked about it yesterday. A 45,000-pound bunker buster, which we will assume, although a small increment based on mass and size, 15,000 pounds going at that speed, it is going to make a difference. And then we assume that size and overall yield and overall penetration is also increased by a modicum. Therefore, what we know we have and what it can do is easily predictable, but not to the layman who doesn't understand. And that's what we're going to try to go into tonight. Leroy, do you want to slap me on something?
No, but I would say that for anyone who pays really, really close attention to the numbers, the advertised, the unclassified weight that a B-2 can carry,
it's 40,000
internal
pounds.
Payload, is 40,000 pounds.
It's just ridiculous.
But a GBU,
a GBU is
bunker
30.
buster that you used
There's
is
two of them.
30,000 pounds.
60.
And just some simple math
tells
gets
you
you to. So that's the kind of thing that we look at. Sometimes you have to do a lot of the background numbers in order to get to the place where you're at. And I will also say that we are both Matt and I are intelligence analysts who had a heavy imagery background. One of the courses that they teach us in imagery is something called BDA, Battle Damage Assessment. And a lot of times when they were gearing up for this kind of thing, it was to kind of give commanders an idea of how usable a building is. Is it completely destroyed? Is it, was it just one wall that was knocked down? If it's only 10% destroyed, then you have to be able to call those things out and make the appropriate reports from that. What makes the GPU so difficult is obviously the fact that when it penetrates the Earth, you can't see a lot of that damage. So a lot of the BDA that has to come from this kind of thing, it's going to take some time. there are other means that I can't get into to kind of judge the effectiveness of those bombs. And sometimes those things can take a little more time.
So let's assume that we just had a release from a archaeological scientific research center, which went under the Pyramid of Giza and was able to penetrate with some sort of reverse topographical mapping to use a revolutionary type sonar to map certain structures under the Pyramid of Giza. Did anyone see this? We covered it on the show. Now I want you to assume that the United States government has something 100 times better than that. So that gives you just an inkling of an idea of something that I would never confirm exists or doesn't exist, but could be used. Now, I have the luxury of showing you some images that Leroy always loves this because he gets a look on his face like he's going to go poop because he kind of just goes, where?
Don't get me fired, man.
I'm not going to get you fired because what I always ensure that this is unclassed and released by a source where I can always fall back on and say, listen, this is open for public consumption. But I have a way of finding these sources. So I'm going to show you some imagery analysis here. And this was released by Maxar Technologies. And this is Open Source Center. So Open Source Center is very similar to most whistleblower type groups, but this is a little bit different. But open source is pretty benign. Now, the stuff I'm going to show you in a second isn't, because I have high resolution images of Natanz and Fordow 3 days before the strike. Now, you may have seen some of these, but you didn't see the high resolution images, and I'm going to be able to tell you what type of trucks they are. And I'm going to tell you what they were doing, and I'm going to show you what they were doing. Now, everyone says that they were offloading centrifuges and 900 kilograms of weaponized uranium. First of all, they don't have 900 milligrams of or kilograms of weaponized uranium. We know that for a fact because they were producing mainly 2 sites under 60. The other 2 sites which they hit, which were Fordow and Natanz, both were producing anywhere from a range of capable of 90, but hadn't started that production yet. So the chances of the Iranians having weapons-grade uranium is slim to none. But did they offload all those centrifuges? Did they go down into, 200 feet down and start getting the craftsman tools and start breaking it down in 48 hours? And I will tell you, I have incontrovertible evidence that they didn't. So I want everyone to just take a breath and let me show you what we've got. And Leroy and I will join this journey. Yeah, join this journey together. So this is... oh
my God. I use that exact same font on a couple of products.
Of course. Well, you can always tell who you know. Listen, it's not like we weren't trained by the same government. This is Fordow, or Fordow, however you want to say it, but it's Fordow. And I want you to take a look that I'm going to have to move this. Sorry, Leroy. But you can actually see the strike area and the underground facility overview. Now, that's where this line is coming across. You'll see possible bomb entry points right. Let me get over everything on my mouse over here. You'll also see the tunnel entrance, number 1 and number 2. This is Alpha and Bravo, or Machmach and Chasuch, however you say it. And this is something that really should interest Leroy, is this image, as you can see something post-strike that took place. If you take a look, is something massive happened here. Now, this is not an entrance, folks. These, I will show you later, are most assuredly ventilation shafts, 3 of them. And we sent 6 GBU-57s down these ventilation shafts. Now, people are saying, well, the GBU's maximum depth under reinforced concrete is somewhere around 160 feet. Well, first of all, it's actually less than that in reinforced concrete, but this is not reinforced concrete. These are ventilation shafts, which are channeled. And whether those be zigzag or straight down, it doesn't matter, because all of that rock that they cut through is not reinforced because they need the ventilation system. Now, if you know anything about reinforced rebar, any weak structure points on a reinforced hardened bunker essentially just destroys the integrity of the reinforcement. So this is the 3 entry holes, and I will show you satellite evidence that they were indeed ventilation ports. I'm also going to show you what they were doing when it comes to the Iranians in Entrance Alpha and Entrance Bravo and what those trucks were doing. It's also important for you to understand that. Leroy, anything that you want to add to this graph?
Yeah, I do, but give me 2 seconds here. Runway. So a lot of times what people don't realize is that the concrete that is used in a lot of the construction for that kind of thing they will use different grades of concrete. It's like when you go out to a runway, like in any American runway, most of those runways are built to withstand somewhere between 550 to 700 psi, like per square inch. That's what the concrete is rated for. And a more hardened facility, you might have concrete that is rated for up to 3,000 psi. For things like ventilation shafts, that's going to be pretty low density. That's not going to be anything significant. The high density stuff, in all likelihood, is going to be much further down, right? And that's where they're trying to ensure the highest amount of safety for the facility. So for things like ventilation shafts, I would say that it's probably not very fortified.
Christine Clark donated $10.80. Thank you for getting us started, Christine. So, folks, I don't know if you guys know this, but we have 893 people watching the show tonight. It is pretty incredible to see us finally hit some big numbers. Twitter seems to be, it's been going fairly well on X since Dean Cain shared a post and Damani actually shared one of our posts. So Superman shared a post.
I saw Dean Cain's.
Yeah, Dean Cain shared.
Awesome.
And since we've done that, we've actually been getting a lot. So to have 777 people on X is ridiculous, considering we only have like 5,300 followers. So welcome to all of you. Please follow us and continue to follow us. We just broke 900. This officially is our biggest show that we've ever had so far. So, and it's going to get better. Stick around, hang with us. Appreciate the analysis. Absolutely. So it comes down to this: is a ventilation shaft is most assuredly a weak spot and a point of entry that would be like hitting the forecastle of a ship. Yeah. It's it would break the back, or hitting it below the water line. These are susceptible areas, or hitting anywhere on a plane that's in flight. So Leroy, go ahead, and then I want to show the next clip.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because a lot of times what most people don't realize is that when you're talking about explosions with such high intensity, that they actually don't consider the ground to be solid. When you're dealing with explosives of that high an order of magnitude, then everything kind of turns into a fluid dynamics game. And so, God, you remember that movie, The Score, where they blew up a safe from the inside out using water and an explosive?
Yep.
Right.
And
A lot of the same effects are going to happen just in the ground because the explosions are so big.
Oh, I'm going to show you that.
And so that's another kind of factor that needs to be taken into account when you're talking about how badly these facilities may have been damaged.
Firecracker on the top of the hand versus closing your hand over the firecracker. That's a really good example. And this would be a closing your hand over the firecracker situation. So to see that photo that I showed you, and I don't know if we truly talked about this, is you can see that there is clear indications of collapse, okay? And I'll show it to you right here, because I'm going to show you the ventilation shafts side by side in a picture that I took, that I captured days before. And this will really help put it into perspective, especially when we zoom in.
That's a lot of earth that moved.
Oh, buddy.
That's a lot.
So take a look at that, folks. You are, and this is why I will explain to you the yield of this explosion and show you in quantifiable and qualitative numbers so you can truly understand it, okay? First of all, inside a GBU-57 is essentially 3,500 kilograms, or it's 3,145 kilograms, essentially 7,000 pounds of explosives. 7,000 pounds of TNT is what is equivalent to a GBU-57. So I'm not upset at anybody banning anybody. It was called a joke, everybody. So you can see the impression in this area is, first of all, you're seeing very, very smooth edges, almost sand dune quality, which is very rare for rocky mountainous terrain, especially Afghanistan, Iran, which is volcanic. It is extremely rough, and everything just can cut you in this area. But you're seeing a massive area. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at these ventilation shafts, and we know the size of these ventilation shafts, which essentially are close to 20 by 20. Now look at the holes. You can tell that these are ventilations because they're 3 squares. They're not circles like everyone thought they were. You can see by this image, this is blown up, that they are squares. So they essentially sent 1, 2, 3 simultaneously going through these ventilation shafts, followed by 1, 2, 3 again. So this is where you get the penetration of, certainly not double, but you will get an incredible amount of penetration because this thing is moving at the speed of sound. It breaks an ungodly amount of speed. It uses the force, and it has hydrofoils in the back, similar to a JDAM, which will go ahead and calculate and move its overall flight. Joanne Townsend, $10.80. Thank you. One quick second.
Thank you, Joanne.
And the way that this is built and the base of the weight is that this thing comes in at extremely high altitude and is an unstoppable force that literally just cuts through rock, cement, and mountain. But because these are in ventilation shaft, even if they are some sort of pattern that's not a straight line, it doesn't matter. These things don't bounce. They simply go until they don't. Leroy, what did you want to add to this?
Okay, so often in that image, you're going to see kind of science at work here. On the background image, right? Not the black and white one, but off to the north of there, or what would appear relative north, there is a white box. I think that might be a, no, the other direction.
Carrie Ripley, $21.10. Thanks, Matt and Leroy. Every bit helps. Thank you, Carrie.
Towards the top of the image. There you go. So that might be a 40 by 80 cargo, like a Connex box.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then you have some relative idea of how much earth you can, with rough math, you can figure out how much earth was displaced. Because if I'm right, then that box is 100 cubic meters, or around 3,500 square feet, right? And so when you figure the holes into that, you can start laying that across. I count about 8 Connex boxes down in this from the size of that building, which means that would be 8 times 100. That's 800 cubic meters, or 8 times 3,500, 64,000 cubic square feet. Holy crap.
And if you don't,
so for that hole to be there, taken in scale, that's monstrous. And then there's something else called inverse square, the inverse square law, which means that energy, as it leaves a central focal point, drops off by an order of magnitude for every couple of feet that it leaves. So that being said, with that much volume of earth that has been displaced from the top that we can see, try to imagine how much energy was actually imparted on the facility.
I'm going to show you, that.
200 feet down.
Oh yeah, I'm going to show you with uber math skills and show you some video so people understand in context how damaging this explosion was. But Leroy's absolutely correct. These are not small ventilation shafts. Just the port, the what you would call the entry to the channel is 20 by 20. That is an incredible amount of space. So you're talking about 200 square feet per hole. Then he's talking about these Connex boxes. So that gives you an understanding that they're actually similar to the top of these ventilation shafts. So the really cool thing about this is like a giant Death Star, folks. And it's got, a weakness. This is it. Instead of having one where Luke has to go in and hit a 2-meter hole, you don't have a 2-meter hole. Essentially, in these, you have 3 7-meter holes that are easier than pie to hit because they have a giant, I mean, it might as well just be a target.
Yeah.
So this is why people need to understand when he uses the word obliterated in Fordow. And I'm going to show you what basically happened. Now, this is assuming they used 30,000-pound GBU-57s. Because we know there is a larger version of this that isn't a bunker buster, but this is the sister of the Moab, which is actually 11 tons of TNT. So it's actually a 3-to-1 ratio, but that is a different type of weaponry. But the physics are still the same. The internal components are very much the same. The Moab and the GBU-57 work almost exactly the same versus size,
right,
where they actually blow up because they do have depth sensors and they do have a ratio of altitude to ground to go ahead and explode above target. But even the Moab has a signature that is incredible where people would pause and go, oh my God, that thing can take out a square mile. Well, guess what? The GBU-57 is 1/3 less powerful than a Moab, and you're dropping it in a confined space. So I'm going to show you that. If you think this is good, just wait. But this image, I haven't reposted it. I think I'm going to. I don't think a lot of people have this image. I'm sure the U.S. government has it, but most people haven't seen what those ventilation shafts look like before they were hit. And by the way, if you take a look right here, Leroy will tell you what that is right there.
Point to where you're.
Yep, hold on. Right.
Oh, that black thing on the top?
Yeah, what's that little thing right there in the middle of this little roadway?
Probably not that little, but I can't tell.
It's actually a shadow of a flag. And by the way the sun's going, you can see the shadow. So there is a flag right here, and I was able to get into it pretty heavy, but it is simply a shadow of a flying flag on this entry point. What that flag signifies or what it represents, I don't know. I'm assuming it's Iranian. Maybe it's, tits and ass bar.
Eat it Joe's.
Eat it Joe's. I don't know, but it's a flag. And I was wondering, because the first thing I thought is, wow, that is a huge guy, because it looks like a very elongated shadow from a 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock position of the sun or early morning. In this case, it would be a late day. But that's, alas, it's not. It's a flag. So just an interesting little tidbit of information. Let's get out of this and let's go into the next one, because this is where we start getting into the fun stuff. Let's see. Okay, we'll do this one next. No, we're gonna wait. Oh, I've got some fun ones. This is gonna be good. Oh, this one's good. Now, if you want to talk about Earth displacement, I happen to have an image, once again, from the Open Source Center. These are not, I've seen them, but not shared to this quality. So I think I was lucky to get these. Watch Leroy's face when he sees this.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. This was Ford out. These are entry points.
That's a lot.
Yeah, dude, a lot of Earth. And when you see the explosion, people will understand. This is literally targeting probably centrifuges, storage containers, and auxiliary and main power in the unit. But you can see the entry points here are just incredibly deep. And
for everyone who's watching, it would not shock me. Now, a lot of times for the analysts who are looking at this kind of thing, they have measurement tools that are built into their software so that they can kind of get a rough idea. Okay, how big is that hole? We don't have that here, right, for scale. But just based off of the debris that is both off on the right and to the left of that top hole or cavity, that looks like industrial debris. I'm going to say that hole is at least, that's 50 feet across.
Oh, easily. And probably 225 to 250 feet wide.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
That's a lot.
It's guys, the displacement of this is I'll tell you that. But look at the bottom picture here. So on the left, we obviously have a before and after picture. And look at the amount of displacement here. The reason why this is important is if you look at where the sun is in the picture on the left, it's pretty much right overhead. It's almost at noon. And if you look at this picture over on the right, it's not too far off in its timetable. So, yeah, we've got longitude and latitude 7:39, and then the time is 4:41. So you're talking about 2.5, 3 hours difference. But look at the amount of displacement here, the jaggedness of this flat area, which should not have a shadow on it, that extenuated is because it literally has channeled and collapsed and it's recessed. So yes, there should be some disparity in the overall shadow, but you can see how the landscape has changed. This indention here, which is a roadway.
Am I seeing three basically channels in each of those?
Yes. Here
on the right image, yeah.
And the right image, yes, the three, and you're also seeing the three here. First one is here, second one is here, and then third one you can't see, but it's here. They 6 and 6 went into these two locations. Damn. And then the other two went in the entrances. This is a massive amount. Like, this would be like, the Red October displaces the same amount of water as a World War II aircraft carrier. He's like, big son of a bitch. This is massive. So something to think about. Now here comes the fun ones. So there were rumors that Russia reached out to Iran and said, this strike is coming. We're aware of it. You need to empty Natanz, Fordow, and Esfahan ASAP, and you need to get everything out of there, from your centrifuges to everything else. By the way, I'm going to show one more thing to Leroy. He's going to love this. Dude, you're going to love this shot. Wait till you see this shot. I'm so excited to show this to you. I'm seriously, I'm like a kid in a fucking candy store. Merry Christmas, Leroy. Now, you can do some damage with this because you can actually register a couple of those building spaces.
I thought that was my last colonoscopy is what I thought that was. Somehow you got a hold of my records.
Look at that, dude.
Yeah,
look at that. That's gnarly. And what's great is that...
Again,
go ahead.
Look at for scale. Exactly where those look like truck trailers.
Or a
Connex boxes, almost.
Or a propane type, or a Connex box or propane, something to that effect.
Yeah. Damn. That's a big hole.
By the way, folks, we just broke 1,000 people, which is really exciting. So thank you for that. Let's go to 1,144 total. Thank you, everybody. Over 1,019 on Twitter watching.
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, we are very, very excited to see that many people watching the show. It's about damn time. And the good thing is they're staying. So don't be afraid to say something, say hello and everything else. 15 ton. Yeah. Michael Wilkes says 14, 15-ton bombs. I believe something probably got destroyed. 15 tons is about accurate, at least with what was publicly disclosed. So let's go into another image. And now we can start having a little bit of fun. I'm going to show you an image that most people have seen, and then I'm going to show you a high-resolution image that can kind of put some things in perspective. So this is a cool little program in Mac, which highlights the areas inside of a photograph so you can kind of see what I'm seeing. So now you get to see these are the entry points into Fordow. And I'm going to move this over. You have entry point Alpha, which is down here, and entry point Bravo, which is here. Now, the interesting thing about this is that you're going to be seeing some vehicles which are lined up. And these vehicles there's about 20 of them, are mid-size trucks, not like a single bed truck, but like a barrel box
I've
truck.
got six larger trucks leading the pack.
Yeah,
and it looks like a string of much smaller trucks.
Yeah, like the Isuzus or whatever they're called. Yeah, they're Isuzu trucks type thing. But there's also some trucks and things you can't see to the ready eye, and this is very, very important to what this is. These are not. Listen, you're not going to carry, first of all, weaponized uranium in the back of an Isuzu. That's not the way this works. You're also going to move it with higher quality technology than what they're displaying here. So what else could these trucks be doing? Well, the first thing is you need a higher resolution image. And yes, we've got it for you. So had a chance to break this down just a little bit and do some zoom in. And just like Leroy said, you're seeing trucks that are much longer, probably 20 plus foot. This might even be a little bit longer, carrying what could they be carrying? But more importantly, I want you to look here at the bulldozers. The bulldozers that are here, you have 1, 2, and 3 bulldozers, and then number 4 right here. So bulldozers are predominantly used to move a massive amount of earth, but these aren't loaders. So if you have bulldozers which push earth but don't necessarily load trucks, because that's not what they're designed to do, you usually need some form of swivel and a scoop.
Excavator.
Yeah. To do that. This would be to push earth into a location. Now, the other thing we know is none of these trucks are loaded with earth. So they're not loaded with earth. So you've got trucks going in with cylindric, which look to be about 10-foot piping a piece, probably 3-foot openings. And there's 3 sets of them right here. You can see 1, 2, 3. And this is like a 30-foot bed. So these are about 8 to 10 feet, 3-foot opening. And they look to be a stack of 3 by 3. So you're looking at 27 per stack. You're looking at 78 on each truck. And you've got a total of 1, 2, 3 trucks loading up.
Right.
So let's zoom in.
What are those?
Yeah, that's a great question, isn't it? But wait a second. You've got a truck here that's bringing in some dirt. So let me tell you what I think it is. Leroy, do you need a second? Here's a truck with some dirt in it. So they are, they are scooping dirt, and they are bringing it into the entrance. And the reason why you have these tubes is because these are more than likely some form of steel or concrete. And it is my belief that the bulldozers are being used to navigate these tubes into a position in the entrance to create resistance for the entrance vulnerabilities by putting these tubes vertical and then filling dirt in between and creating some sort of barrier for the GBU-57s in a predetermined way to prevent them hitting this entrance. But also when you have these tubes, it is going to create pockets. And as far as an explosion, in their eyes, could disperse the amount of energy to and from the entry and egress points from these holes. Now, that would be a physicist to answer, but that is my first gut reaction to what they were trying to do. And I will tell you that it will not fucking work. And it didn't work because there's no way. But it takes sand is not going to do it. You have to harden and compact and make that rock or hardened concrete. Otherwise, that thing is going to glide in like a virgin on prom night.
Well, and I wonder if that's, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Matt. I'm just throwing another idea out here, right?
Sure. Oh, give it to me.
I wonder if that's what those are, is some sort of metal reinforcing structure, so that if they maybe they're worried about structures collapsing, and this might be the only way to shore up those tunnels, so that they might be able to get workers in there with less danger of collapse. Obviously, the structure is still incredibly shaky. You already had said it. Sand is not very. It'll flow around things. It caves in on things. There's not a lot there, so they may end up. That could be just structures needed to shore up the existing tunnel system.
Well, I also have some information that is certainly not classified, but it is something that was given to me secondhand by. I don't do anonymous sources, but I will tell you that it is someone who I know in Saudi Arabia who is responsible for monitoring rad levels and leakage on sites. And Saudi Arabia was clocking all 3 of these, actually all 9 of the nuclear sites in Iran for the last few months, and taking samples with overhead flights, satellites, and everything else to take rad levels. And at no point during that time did they recognize any higher than normal rad levels for movement and post of explosion, is my understanding. So you could have a situation where this stuff was moved ahead of time before those things were taken, or it simply was a coffin situation. So if you guys have ever seen Kill Bill and the 1-inch death punch, and smashing the coffin, and then, she flies through the dirt, 6 feet of dirt, and escapes, is one of the most ridiculous and stupid suspension of disbeliefs that you need, because if first of all, a wooden sarcophagus is not it's gonna
the 5
right the 5-finger death punch is going to crush the moment that the moment you put that much dirt on it, that wooden coffin's it's going to be a pancake. And nobody's getting out of that, because that pocket of air, although may be sustainable for a short term, the weight of Earth will crush it, and nobody's getting out of that alive. The same thing is true here. But now I want you to imagine if Pai Mei was inside that coffin, and then you put 10 pounds of TNT in there and lit the fuse.
Well, he'd certainly be more motivated to get out.
She would turn into a liquid. So I want you to think about that when we get to the explosion. But I think both scenarios are absolutely viable. It's hard for me to believe what structure they would reinforce at 10 feet. Usually these, first of all, you don't put something 200 to 300 feet into the ground if it's not weapons grade. Like, they're not building.
Right.
You guys, anyone who says that these were not for weaponry is just fucking just so far from reality. You don't put it that deep underground unless it's specifically exactly what it's for. 1, for containment for their own populace, and 2, for secrecy. Is it possible that those are reinforced braces? Yes, it is. But also, these entrances were a 7 to 10 degree down angle. These are perfect for entry for GBUs. This is you guarantee. You want to know what China was probably doing there? What China was coming in for? Well, we have intelligence now that they were getting nationals out, which Leroy and I both told you they probably were getting Chinese nationals out of country, number 1. But number 2, it's rumored that they were bringing in physicists and people who specifically could prevent or try to stop the amount of damage that would happen from a U.S. strike. So although either one is probable and more than likely just a guess, they both could be correct.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that
it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But that's, once again, there's a difference between fact and fiction. We're giving you the facts. This is a lot of supposition of what it could be and what it couldn't be. The interesting
and in fact, the fact of the matter is that's how it would actually play out. This conversation is happening in multiple intelligence centers all over the U.S., where you're going to have a boss hovering over somebody's shoulder saying, "All right, what is that?" And some poor analyst is going to say, "Oh man, I don't, it looks like it's this," and he's going to have to, provide evidence to support his belief or not. And that's all we're doing here.
Chuck says my mic is clipping. Hard to believe. I'm looking at my meters. I haven't hit red once in the show, so I'm sitting in yellow. Maybe your phone's up a little loud. So if you're saying I'm too loud, I can turn it down. Just let me know. Chuck, check your email too, please. I emailed you and I asked you about the shirt. If you have questions, we're going to get to them in a second. Real quick, folks. Donations, we're at 4270. Our goal is 300 with over 1,200 people on. I don't expect a bunch of new donations right now, but I can expect you guys to hit like, follow, share, and subscribe. And please follow us. We would appreciate it. That would mean a great deal. So all these new people, I can't believe it. 1,200 people on Twitter. This has got to be the number one show on Twitter right now.
If all 1,200 people gave $1, Matt said that he would get me a toupee.
Yeah, I would. But the thing that we need to understand is this is probably the number one show on Twitter right now. I don't know. I know Lorraine is on, and usually she beats us, but I think we've got to be one of the top shows. Someone let me know. Okay, so now that we've looked at that, I want to show you one more photograph. So this is 1 kilometer away, and you can see that these trucks are staggered. See, some are on the side of the road and some are coming down. Do you guys see this long pile right here?
Yep.
That's dirt. And those are what the bulldozers were doing. You can see these channels right here. See these channels? This is also where bulldozers are picking up dirt. So these trucks are getting filled. And trust me, this isn't a water break. It very well could be an aqueduct of some sort. It could be a levee, could be an aqueduct, but it doesn't. But I've seen the full photo. They stop about a quarter mile from here. And you see a line of bulldozers. I didn't save that other image, but you see a line of bulldozers literally channeling here. And also, if it is what?
DFPs? Defensive fighting positions? Maybe when they thought Israel was going to send in manpower?
Yeah, but it's not subterranean, so it's not a levee. It's a pyramid.
No,
I know, but you said levee. And I'm talking about the levee first. DFP is what I'm talking about. Levee. Yeah, it can't be a levee because it's a pyramid and it's not built like an aqueduct. So defensive fighting positions, I guess, but what about your flank? Yeah. And look at the shadow. These piles are about 6 feet. Not a very good defensive position, but you can see these excavation holes are you can see the bulldozer tracks. Let me see if I can get in here. You can see the tracks and you can see the channel markings from where. Look at the tracks, dude. You can see the bulldozer tracks everywhere.
Yeah.
Get there. See them? I mean, you can see the indentation tracks right here and here. So this is fresh. So they're in there scooping dirt. And so it would lead, that is where I put 2 and 2, that they are excavating dirt and filling up those tunnels with dirt. This is 1 kilometer away. Once again, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bulldozers don't pick up dirt. They push it, Matt. No shit, Fred. I already said that.
We just said that.
I just said that. That's not what I said. My point is that these are flatbed trucks, and it would not surprise me if you literally have 70, 80 guys with shovels. My point is that you have to take the evidence that we have that trucks are moving into these tunnels. There's dirt excavation taking place with bulldozers, which is loosening. Now, trust me when I say this. This isn't like loosey-goosey sand at the beach, folks. This is like Arizona. It's clay, volcanic rock, and dense sand. And you got to dig. So there's probably only certain places that are soft enough to dig, depending upon where it's at, to the geolocation of the site. That's my point. So what are they doing? Well, they're not moving nuclear fission material and centrifuges by any account do I see that. Because let me explain this. IDF owns the skies. The Israeli Air Force owns the skies. If they had any inkling that this stuff was being moved, they would have blown these guys to kingdom come. Leroy,
Yep.
tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're spot on correct there. It's already been established that Israel in the United States has air dominance over that region. So, which is why I would struggle. I'm kind of trying to figure out what are they doing, right? Because if it was DFPs, like it would serve no purpose. They would get smoked. The first helicopter that comes over the horizon,
first drone that comes over their toast. It's you guys. It's a column of dirt that's being pushed. You can tell it's being trenched because when we zoom in here, listen, Occam's razor, folks. That's what I've got to say here. Occam's razor. But you can see the track marks. They're pushing this dirt. This is fairly fresh. But you can also see
look at the shadow on that truck.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say the shadow on that truck, which is, gives you a pretty good indication. That's probably a truck that is standing, what, 8 feet?
6 to 8 feet. And the mound is about the same.
So, exactly. So there's not a small amount of dirt. That's a big pile.
It is a big pile, but you can also see that there's the same bulldozer marks here, here, and here. And you can see that somebody offloaded something here. There's an impression, and then there's discolored earth. So listen, I don't know. What I'm telling you is that if you've got 20 trucks that are reinforcing it with 8 foot by 10 foot, possibly 3 foot circled cement or metal pipes, and then you have trucks that are staged around freshly excavated dirt, it would lead you to believe that they're either installing a water main or they're putting up some sort of resistance into the entry points of that establishment facility.
I'm going to go with A and say it's for a pot farm, but maybe I'm nuts.
You know what? I didn't think about that. Maybe opium. Come on, this is the Middle East. So
Right.
it's something to think about. Now, if I saw an excavator in this mofo, I would be like, that's it. That's what they're doing. But I have not seen a photo of an excavator. There's a real long one. Look at that long semi.
Yeah.
These are dump trucks right here. These are dump trucks, folks. These are a little bit longer trucks. I don't see an excavator. Got a bulldozer right there. Because if you saw an excavator,
I was going to say I would have expected to have seen a flurry of activity in and around these sites post strike for any one of a number of reasons to see if the facility was still even partly intact, even if the tunnels were caved in, or if maybe they were trying to move things in or out, or maybe they're trying to deliver things to the site. It's hard to say.
right.
But that's so odd.
It's definitely something to think about, right? So we just need to, put on our thinking caps and say, if you're afraid that your facility is going to be bombed, like Volvo Lizard trucks, Riley, that's what I'm talking about. Like the Isuzu and Volvo. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Those type of trucks. They look like a standard truck bed, but they're up a little bit higher. It's a taller truck and they're boxy. Oh shit, I'll just look it up.
Yeah, those loud, plackety diesel types that are kind of multi-purpose all over the Middle East.
Right.
That's a really good picture of you.
Oh, thanks, buddy. You've got a couple too.
You're welcome.
They look like this. I mean, these are all over the Middle East. And if they don't have a high powered weapon system attached to them, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what those are. And the centrifuges as far as size.
Getting those out,
you guys, it's very delicate equipment. These things, you guys need to understand. Like they're 6.5 feet height. They're tall. They're
usually hard mounted to a reinforced surface. These are not something where you can just unplug them from a wall like a clothes dryer and call it out. It's not like that.
Yeah,
these are going to be very delicate for one, and two, the fact that they have to be mounted to something because of the speed at which they spin, which is several hundred, if not 1,000 RPMs. They're not going to be able to get those out.
So let me show you something also. And this is why we do this show is for shit like this. So if I was to show you, this is in Ohio, and this is an example of a centrifuge. This is where the 10-foot poles kind of make me go, as far as ceiling support. That's what we're talking about here. Yeah. This is what we're, donation, $5.65, CJ. $5 challenge. This is best educational, well worth it. Thank you for your service. Thank you, CJ. So what CJ's saying is she's putting in $5.65 to allow other people to help. By the way, 1,300 viewers. We just hit 1,300. So centrifuges are not just, these little tiny little things. They're
not
massive.
Medical ones, right?
Right. They're attached to wires and electronics, and the assembly is usually vertical, and there's rotors, and these rotors spin at like 50 to 100,000 RPM. They are incredibly detailed, and you just don't get to pick them up and move them. That's not the way it works. Sorry, it is kind of ostentatious to have this picture, but Olivia has hers and I have mine, and I usually don't show this, so a little bit embarrassing. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on from that. Here's a video I want to show you. And this is going to we're going to walk you through it, and we'll watch it together. And this will explain the GBU 57 Alpha Bravo, which is called a MOP. You want to tell them what the MOP is, buddy?
Sure. So it's a 30,000-pound bomb that penetrates Earth, and MOP actually stands for Massive Ordnance Penetrator. So not quite like Ron Jeremy, but
like my penis. All right. Here's the video, and we'll walk you through it. So officially 60 meters of concrete. But once again, you need to understand something. These are going through ventilation shafts, and that is not hardened concrete. This is the beauty of that. And when they go in, guys and girls, they go in like butter.
They go in dry. Oh,
yeah. But aerodynamically, it does hit a supersonic speed.
Yeah.
They come in at an angle. They have a reinforced front. It's nickel, chromium. It's resistance to heat. And these things are specifically built, just like I said, just like the JDAM. And the penetration of the second largest bomb that's being used right now in this conflict, Israel has it, and that's maximum penetration is 20 feet. So this is why the U.S. had to get involved. We're the only one with this technology. And there are sensors in the nose, which you don't see here, and I can't go into a bunch of detail, but I will tell you it sends back a massive amount of data before it explodes. And
right.
Go ahead, buddy.
Well, so the sensors that's in the nose, it basically breaks up it tells the computer when to detonate, and it tells the not only how deep it has gone, but also the composition of the earth, like the density of it, for potentially for future strikes. So
yeah, and you'll get data back, just like you can put a chip in a baseball and throw it and get data back now, but this will return data to back to home. And that's ultimately what its job is. Now, I want to show you something, and this is cool. So I want you to just take a second, and I really want you guys to listen to what I'm going to tell you here. And I decided to go to unsafeguard.org. Mr. Hollanday says $1.50 donation challenge to all new Twitter dummies. Well, I hope that works because we have 1,324 on and we're at $49. So I do love the little donations, but it'd be nice to get a couple big ones here. And also, can we spam the like button, please? Can we do that? So this is a blast damage estimation, and this is created by IATG. And you can take all sorts of explosion, Amatol, C4, Tritonol. I mean, it's got everything. And if you take TNT, the charge size in kilograms is 3,175. So it's a 7,000 pounds of TNT. Donation from Louis
Bentley.
Lois. God, I don't know why I do that. It's dyslexia. Lois Bentley at $21.10. Thank you, Lois. We love you, hon. You're the best. So 3,107 kilograms, and the range of munition to structure is 0. And I'm going to blow you away. Literally. Paul Sheehan, $20. Here we go. Thank you. $90.95. We're
Thank you, Paul.
All right. So I want you to look at this. Damage to 4 millimeter thick annealed glass. Small window, medium window, and large window. High hazard. Minimum range to no break, 382 meters away, 1/5 of a mile. A medium window is 617 meters away. And a large window is 1,381 meters away, which is 3/5 of a mile. With this one bomb, maximum effective range, 1,803 meters. Frederick, articulating dozer. That's what it is. It's a trans-fucking-former, dude. It comes up and it uses it. And it uses its scoop. I got you. All right.
Autobots, roll out.
Roll out.
Yeah.
Fatal distance. Listen to this. Fatal distance. 33.92 meters. You have to be 100 feet away.
Damn.
100 feet away. Fatal distance. Lung damage, 53.76 meters. Eardrum rupture, 138.25 meters. Now, this is interesting. Houses completely demolished over 120 feet away. Houses badly damaged 270 feet away. Houses rendered uninhabitable can be repaired with extensive work almost 500 feet away.
Jeez.
Houses rendered uninhabitable can be repaired reasonably quickly 278 meters away, which is almost 900 feet. Houses require repairs, serious inconvenience, but remain habitable 557.81 feet away. That is one bomb. One. And we know for a fact
14?
14.
Jeez.
Now, is there anyone who would like to reassess their assessment that Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan are still operational? Is there anybody? Because we're not done. I was so convinced to show you what the equivalent was of 7,000 pounds of TNT. I have to use my good friends at Mythbusters and show you the dump truck. Now, I want to make sure you understand the dump truck was around 350 pounds of Anfro. And Anfro is much different than TNT. It's an extremely slow-moving explosive. It tears and it rips. It's a dirty, dirty, nasty explosive. But they only used a couple 100 pounds. Here is the video for your consumption. There it is, 55-pound bags of Anfro. Now I'm going to keep the audio off because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But this is a dump truck. Now, this dump truck is encased in a pocket of air, and underneath is literally hardened cement that has been in there for like 2 years. And this truck is made of full metal. It's fairly big. They're like 14, 15 feet long. They're about 10 feet high or higher. They're huge.
Yeah.
And
that is not a small vehicle. That vehicle is probably anywhere between 30 to 40 feet long.
Oh yeah. I was just talking
with a several ton metal container.
I was just talking about the cylinder size, folks.
Yeah.
Like if you take the full thing, I mean, this thing's built like a tank. No. I'm just talking about the cylinder itself. The cylinder is not even half again, because the backside has a ton of length too, because you have your channel that comes out of that where the pouring mechanisms are. You have electronic levers there for the mixing. This thing's massive. Yeah. See, Keith, I'm just talking about, Keith, I'm talking about the cylinder because that's where the explosions are. If you want to talk about the whole truck, 30 feet long, 15 feet high, easily. These things are massive.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah, I'm just talking about the cylinder because that's what's going to blow. I mean, the whole thing is, there's going to be nothing left. So this is only a couple 100 pounds of anfro. And still very much resembles TNT, and I want you to watch what happens. Everybody ready? Here we go. Let's do it.
I love this show. I watched every season of this when it was on.
Me too.
Loved it.
One of my favorites. People will say, how does Matt know so much? I watch this show. Watch this. Dude, there were pieces of that thing that they found 5 to 6 miles away. You guys, that's only a couple hundred
here.
Yeah. You guys, that is only a couple 100 pounds. You're talking about 7,000 pounds in one bomb in an enclosed space. Go ahead.
Times 14. Right?
In an enclosed space. Moving 30,000 pounds, moving at a supersonic speed, going through a ventilation shaft. Folks, let me explain something. You can sit here, you can add all the politics and bullshit that you want, but the physics don't lie, and the weapons did not fail. That's the only question you have. If you're an operator, you're an intelligence specialist, the question's, did we get a successful detonation? Yes? Well, then they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
So my assessment, just by looking at the evidence above ground, is that there is a world of hurt going on in those facilities. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
When you do the math on that, the 7 times 14, that comes out to be around 98,000 pounds of explosives, right? And again, when you're dealing with explosions of that magnitude, engineers and the people who actually put the stuff together, they don't actually consider the earth to be a solid. At that point, it's a liquid, because with those types of pressures that are being imparted on the earth, nothing is a solid. Everything is technically a liquid. That's why they measure all this stuff with fluid dynamics. So the waves alone that were traveling out from 98,000 pounds of explosives, that would have been enough to shred any reinforced concrete structure.
You guys,
I can't even imagine.
Listen to what I'm trying to tell you here. Say it again. How many tons? 98,000 is divided by 2.
98,000 pounds.
46,500. How many pounds of okay, so how many tons?
98,000 pounds.
98,000 pounds. How many tons is that?
Wait, 1 pounds in a ton.
Isn't it 2,000? So wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it's
2,000.
2,000. So it's 45. So it's 45 tons.
Tons of TNT.
No, it's 4,500. Do the math. It's 45,000.
Yeah.
It's 45,000. because it's times 2.
Divided by 49 tons.
Okay. It's 49 tons. Okay, so I was right. I was like, 49,000 sound way too much. So let me explain something to you guys. Oklahoma City was 2 tons of TNT. Equivalent. 2 tons. You just put Oklahoma City times 22.5. 22.5 times the size of Oklahoma City, 14 times.
And that ruined the building.
Yes. So let me also put it in perspective. Hiroshima was 15,000 tons of TNT.
15 kilotons. That's right.
Yes, it's 15 kilotons. So you just basically put something that was 0.5% the size of Hiroshima in a closed space. Let me know how that worked out for you. Mathematically, this place is toast. Toast. Hold on a second. Olivia just sent me a text. I must have missed a donation. Mr. Hollanday, part 2, I got you. Calm down, making a pot pie. 3140. Thank you, buddy. 3140. 122.35. So a Moab is 11 tons of TNT, and that takes out a square mile. This was 3.5 tons. So it's a third of that. So essentially, inside a closed area, you could take out a third of a mile. Now, understand there's resistance and collapse and everything. You guys, I feel that they did a extensive amount of damage based upon the physics of this whole thing. Right. And I think that is an educated guess with a probability, in my estimation, I am 95% sure that those installations have had unrecoverable damage just in what I know about explosives, what I know of what GPUs and bunker busters can do, what I've seen them do. Right. These are some of this is the most lethal bomb on the planet that goes subterranean.
So minus when we hear
minus a tactical nuke. Minus a tactical nuke tipped on one of these, or the other GBU, which I can't name, that is a larger size than this that you don't know about. Go ahead, Leroy.
So when we hear from NBC or any of the mainstream media about the DIA report that says, oh, we only slowed down Iran's nuclear production capability by 3 to 6 months, I'm really dubious about that. And I would love to see the DIA report on exactly how they did the math on that one.
Who oversees the DIA?
If they did the math in the same way they calculated the potential tonnage that the B-2 can lift off with, if that's the same person doing that math, then that's going to call into some question right away. They tend to underestimate this stuff for good reason.
You guys, we showed you the collapsed footprint, 200 feet wide by 50 foot, a KISS. It's called a KISS collapse, which shows you main structure. Well, a KISS collapse is it resembles lips. It's got pointed ends and it's round as far as it is wide. And then that's the indentation and both sides come in. That shows main structure collapse. So it's got a KISS collapse signature of 200 feet by 25 feet. Whatever was in that area is probably 2 to 3 times the size of what that collapse is showing in its footprint, which means anything within any range of that is fucking toast. Toast. Because, you guys, an explosion is not going to be contained in an empty cavity, even though you're like, well, there's centrifuges and there's concrete and there's air conditioners and glass. That's empty. According to a bomb, it'll rip through that shit like paper. It has to be a bomb going off in an enclosed space so the pressure wave doesn't expand. You've got chamber after chamber after chamber in this massive facility, which is open air, and that bomb punctures that, everything is gone.
That's why I brought up the inverse square law, right? That's just math. It's as firm a law as any physical property that we can already measure. So the inverse square law describes how intensity of a certain phenomenon can decrease the farther the distance is from the source. So for us on the surface, like when we're measuring the cavities of those caved in UGFs, the ventilation shafts, for a certain amount of earth to be displaced and cave in on itself based off of that, and we already have a known distance from the surface down to, wherever these facilities were at, if they were 100 feet or 150 or 300 feet, right? There's going to be, I'm sorry.
Don't ignore. I'm just talking to Marlo. I'm answering your question.
There's going to be a known distance between the surface down to the facility. So you can measure exactly how much energy was imparted on the facility, just based off of the inverse square law and the size of those cavities.
Can I give you some information that I wasn't going to share, but I will share it? Mel keeps asking the question, so I'm just going to answer it because I have a feeling Mel already knows. I will just tell you this. I have something I was going to make sure. I was trying to get this person to come on. According to the Richter scale in Fort Howe, it measured at a 2.5 on the Richter scale when it was struck. That's the number I've gotten.
Are we saying that the explosion was enough? It was big enough to register as a earthquake?
Yeah, as most explosions are. So the Bakersfield Power Center in Bakersfield, California, measured in the San Fernando Valley Richter scales. But yeah, you can have explosions that measure, because essentially it sends a shockwave. They've had tornadoes that measure on the Richter scale. So any seismic activity is going to show up on the Richter scale because it just measures vibrations in the earth. So an explosion, most assuredly, if it's large enough, will register. My understanding is it's 2.5. And you know me, I'm not going to do it without backing it up. I'm looking.
Nope, I found it. Yeah, I found the tweet where that came from. Alex Sears on X had made the claim that it registered at 2.5 on the Richter scale, and a different on Daily Express .co.uk. They were claiming that it measured between 4.8 and 5.1.
No, it can't be that big. That's a nuke. Yeah, I don't believe that. I believe the 2.5. And someone who's been through 1,000 earthquakes in California, I know what a 2.5 feels like, and I know what a 5.1 feels like. And no. Yeah, maybe if you were inside the facility. But 2.5 is believable to me. 5.1 is a little much.
Euro News also had a 4.4 listing.
Now, that's possible with the U.S. strike, but that was just the 2.5 was from the Israeli strikes. That's what my understanding is.
Oh, that's an old post. My bad. Disregard what I just said.
Yeah, because mine's from 2021, and it's now on 3 different sites. It's on Money Central, and it's on a couple of overseas sites, and it hasn't been posted to a major. So that's why I didn't want to talk about it yet. But it doesn't surprise me that these would Okay. Oh shit, Liv. I'm sorry. It closed. Let me pull it back up. Okay. Oh, P-break. First of all, donation screen is not popping up. Thomas Austin, keep up the good work. I'll keep being lazy. Haha. $51.99 from Thomas Austin. Thomas. Thank you, brother. Folks, we're going to take a quick pee break, and I'm going to get this.
Excuse me, sir. May I go to the bathroom?
I'm trying to find the. Where the hell are the likes? Where did that go? What? Hold on a second. This is weird. That is just strange. Liv, it's up now, baby. I'm sorry. All right, folks, real quick. We're going to be back with more. We've got 1,419 people on, 94 on Facebook, 1,294 on Twitter, 34 on YouTube. Our biggest show by far. People are obviously enjoying it. What we would love is if you have a chance, go to thedumbshow.com/donate. Use this as a pee break. But if you haven't heard this, here is the commercial. 57 on Rumble. We've got a lot of people on. Listen to this commercial. It's actually quite funny. My family made this, and you should watch it. Leroy, I don't think you've seen this.
Hi, I'm Olivia Spear, host of The Dumb Show. For 3.5 years, we never asked for donations. But after Facebook demonetized us for speaking the truth, we've had to turn to the one thing big tech can't cancel: you.
I'm Hayden, Matt and Olivia's daughter. This show's never chased sponsors or sold out. We've built something honest, and it's thanks to you.
I'm Ethan, their son. Every share, every dollar, every message, you're the reason we can keep calling out the BS and bringing color back to the world going gray.
If you want to help, we take PayPal, Venmo, or snail mail. You can send it to P.O. Box 2, Round Hill, Virginia 20142.
Can't donate? No problem. Just share the show with someone who needs to hear it.
Thanks for helping us stay loud, proud, and completely uncensored. You can donate at thedumbshow.com/donate.
You know what happens when you turn the dial harder? You can make a harder grimace. The harder you grimace, the more effective it is.
You tighten it so freaking... I can't do it. I can't untighten it.
That's what she said.
That's what she's... Oof. Oof. Coming in with it. Pounded. Pounded.
Ugh.
Pound.
Child gets 15.
Ethan, you look like a hippie.
Told the VTuber.
You know this is recording, right?
Okay, let's go. Smile. Donate. Don't start with me. Donations. Every time you don't smile, I'm gonna punch you in the ribs. Donations. Take one. Scene one. Ready. Set. Ethan.
Break.
Ready. Don't screw it up.
Okay.
Ethan, don't mess this up. Ready. Set. Action. No. Whoa. Director calls action, not some stupid toddler.
But we've built something
There's
honest.
no but there. Why do you've been doing this since you were 2 years old? Try it again.
Just share the show with someone who needs to hear it.
He's so much better than you at everything.
It's better than
Hayden, he's just like, even, it's just, go ahead, Hayden.
Thanks for helping us stay loud, proud, and completely uncensored.
That's a wrap. Well done, Spear family. I bet we make no money.
But I'm gonna owe them money without.
Hayden, do your thing again.
Oh yeah, cut it.
Baby shark, doo 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 doo.
We do thank you for your support. Want to thank the people who have donated $174.34. Hope you enjoyed the pee break. Leroy, look at these numbers, dude. This is incredible. Moms for Liberty. We're right behind Moms for Liberty, and we just passed OAN and Brian Fournier. That is, you guys, that is massive. Number 2 on Twitter for live shows right now. It's pretty. We've got 55 folks. If you have not followed the Dumb Show on Twitter, please will you guys follow us or whatever? We would appreciate it.
Right.
We've been growing nonstop lately. It's been good. We've been gaining a lot of followers on Twitter. A lot considering what we had. We also broke 240,000 on Facebook, so we're pretty happy. Facebook's actually given us a little bit of money this month. They're taking care of us finally. So a lot of good stuff. So we appreciate it. But if you have a chance, folks, if you wouldn't mind donating, go to thedumbshow.com/donate. Remember, T.S. Dixon's books on sale for $10. I've got a couple more of those left. I think we've already sold 8 of them. So you can do that. And I held one for Leroy. And we have shirts, we have hats. Leroy and I are wearing some of our product. It's all 5-star stuff. It's good quality crap. We don't sell Chinese made stuff. It is all amazing quality stuff, 5-star rated. Go take a look at thedumbshow.com. Well, that was good, dude. That was fun. I mean, so overall assessment, now that we've had a chance to look at that, what are your thoughts? Are you in the same spot or are you leaning another way?
I was already leaning towards it is far more severe than what DIA had initially reported, but I was still backing off of a little what Trump had said, mostly because there are 3 other facilities that were bombed, and they're really the only one that anybody is really talking about not right now is Fordow. And Natanz a little bit. The other one was Esfahan, right?
Yeah, Esfahan. Yep.
Right. I haven't seen anything on that one. So I think there's still more that needs to come out before any conclusions can be made.
Esfahan was the hardest. I mean, they were doing a head fake. It's just like the B2s, right? So Esfahan was really their hard target. But the Tomahawks also did some really solid damage, and I think people just don't understand how effective how Tomahawks are, especially from a sub. But those F-22s were also dominant. I mean, the United States is so just people don't understand. If you really truly want to know how much of our military we used, we didn't even use 1/1000th of our military for this strike. We could independently fight multiple countries. It's just the United States is so far above everyone else. It is ridiculous. The only thing we don't win in is a nuclear war because there are no winners in nuclear war. But if you want to have a sea battle, let's go.
I heard it explained once before that like we're not very good at overthrowing occupations or instilling new leadership or new regimes. We're not very good at that. But the straight up kinetic fight, there's no one better at that.
I don't know. Iraq's going pretty well. This is a debate that I'm going to be having with Nick Younger, who he comes on the show all the time, or the site, and he argues with pretty much everything I say. And I finally just said, dude, just get on the fucking show. I'm sick of this. So I'm going to have him come on. And he's like, the United States never should have gotten involved in the Middle East. And my argument to that whole thing is if the United States didn't get involved in the Middle East, we probably would have had a nuclear war already.
Right.
And
right.
that's what people need to understand. There's so much. Iraq, although was a cluster, Iraq is doing fairly well. And the reason why Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar and Egypt are not in full open revolt and Shiites and Sunnis and Kurds aren't killing each other by ad nauseum is because their focus is on Israel. Because when Muslims don't have Jews to kill, they kill each other. So I'm going to have that debate with him and explain to him. And certainly I get his understanding. It was a waste of resources. It was a waste of money. And I'm not talking about the Bush era because the Bush era was a complete quagmire. What I'm talking about is the Trump era of getting involved in the Middle East. And everything he has done in the Middle East has been strategic and minimal and highly effective. So I will argue with that all day. But if he just wants to talk about Bush, I'm going to be, well, you win because I'm on your side. I think the Bush era. Matt, check Venmo, please. Livia, check Venmo, please.
To that end, there's one of the guys who stood up Stratfor was a guy named George Friedman. I've mentioned him before, but he wrote a book called The Next 100 Years. And in that book, he makes some educated guesses as to where things are going to end in 100 years. And when he wrote the book, I want to say that came out in 2006-ish, 2010, somewhere in there. And, so it's an older book, yes, but his projections were for 100 years out. And that being said, one of the things that he really understands well is that as big as the United States is, that really we're still kind of a junior country. we really have not been around that long, and he compares us to like a teenager who's just now feeling what it's like to maybe become that junior adult, where you have like all the ambitions in the world, but you carry so much power, and even just a little bit of a wag of a tail really throws people off their game. And so he compares the U.S. to someone who's so big that when we smack somebody around, it doesn't take much to throw off entire continents worth of countries.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair statement. It was one of those that I really had to kind of read the book to conceptualize it, but he makes a really good argument in there.
And people can sit there and say, well, it's Iran. You can't say much about Iran, or it's Syria. Well, Iran has one of the best strategic defense systems ever, and Israel and the United States dismantled it in 72 hours. So this isn't the days of Iraq where we just carpet bomb the shit out of the city. We can strategically kill all 4 quadrants of command and control highly effectively, pretty much anywhere in the world that we want, minus, 4 or 5 countries. So, Frederick, Iran is about the size of France. Iran's huge. It's massive. It's got 90 million people in it. It is a massive country, and it has 9 major provinces and huge cities that are built up. And it's it resembles China more than it resembles anywhere else, because it's centralized around its metropolises and puts all of its money in those, and everything else around it is impoverished. But it's not like it's a shithole. Iran is a beautiful country, and it used to be fairly westernized. Mm-hmm. But Leroy, you got 30 seconds. 30 seconds, go.
Well, I was just going to say exactly that. If you go back 20 years, some of their bigger industries that were just coming to maturity was the automotive industry in Iran. And they've had just such a problem with crime, political crime, people on the take in one way or another, that ultimately, that along with sanctions, have driven a lot of the business out. And so right now, like the only things that Iran really has going for it is illegal oil. I want to say I heard a lot about Bitcoin. They're trying to do a lot with Bitcoin. And then what was the other thing? It was like pharmaceuticals, oddly enough.
Drones. Liv, you guys, I can't check donations. Olivia's doing that. I don't check any of those things. If you guys want that, go check Olivia and call her. Or send her a message. And if somebody's been missed, I'm sorry. I'm not controlling donations right now, but we certainly need them. So please help us out. This is on CNN, and this is classic. It's just classic how bad they are. And let me ask you a question. Everyone's like, oh, well, they pulled out the enriched uranium. Oh, they were empty. What did you expect the media to say? Oh, Donald Trump did a great job.
Right.
Of course, you can't trust anything they say. The reporting of the secret DIA report is from the person who bought into Russian collusion and P tapes. Okay. So these are the people who sold that story. They're the ones who also sold the Hunter Biden story. You can't trust these people. What did you expect them to do? They can't congratulate Trump. They should. They should be saying, listen, all politics aside, he did it right. And now he's standing on the world stage and slapping them both down, but they can't do that. So everything you get from the media has to be suspect. I don't believe anything they say, and my job is to try to disprove it. And the incontrovertible is impossible to prove in this because there's a lot of guesswork, and I don't have the tools at my disposal. But I can quantify and qualify my predictive analysis to be fairly accurate, and I'm pretty fucking solid in my corner that I'm right. Now, if it's up in 4 or 5 months, we'll see. But you guys, this is sensitive equipment. These things are not built like Iron Man. They are sensitive. They are frail. There are thousands of them. And it's a lab.
when Stuxnet happened in the early 2000s, which was a CIA thing. This is unclassified. I pulled this right out of a book. I can't remember the name of the book. Doesn't matter. Stuxnet was this virus that the CIA invented to get the centrifuges in the Natanz to overclock, right, to spin at different speeds. And just the fact that there was some variation in the speeds for which they were supposed to have been running damaged like better than 2/3 of the crop of centrifuges that they were running. That's how sensitive these things are, that if they spin at the wrong speeds, they're destroyed.
Right.
So compare that to, all right, if they spin too fast, destroyed. All right, now let's drop a GPU on it and see.
You guys just don't understand the concussive force.
Are.
The force of this is going to choose the path of least resistance. And it's basically like a giant tube. That's the way Natanz, Fardau, and Esfahan were built. They were singular channeled chambers that were interconnected. And they don't have bulkheads, and they don't have, containment walls. NORAD has a 16-foot steel reinforced wall to stop any type of explosion entering the channel and the entry points to NORAD. And I don't even think that would hold.
Right.
30,000 pounds moving at supersonic speeds. Folks, drop a Volkswagen from space and let me know what happens on Earth. And assuming that a re-entry doesn't burn it up. Okay? Yep. Drop supersonic speeds, 30,000 pounds. You tell me, what do you think is going to happen?
You ever heard of something called rods from God?
Yeah. Heard of it. I don't know what it is.
So there's
but you have to literally do this in 30 seconds. Like, I'm cutting you off because we have to move. We got to go. So give me the 30-second version. Rods from God.
These things were like tungsten rods that were like however thick and however long, but they would be no projectiles or anything. They would just be dropped from a satellite, so that kinetic energy alone drove these things into the Earth, and the intensity and the speed at which they impacted the Earth was so great that it was greater than a nuclear detonation.
Yeah. I'm going to say that I have experienced something falling from a training exercise and hitting the ground at a very fast rate and being 300-400 yards away and feeling it in my feet. And that was 200 pounds. And you can pretty much figure out what I'm talking about. You guys don't understand. 30,000 pounds at supersonic speeds is going to leave. And that's specifically designed not to deconstruct upon impact. It's designed not to break apart. It's designed to continue its momentum and not alter its structure. The thing is literally like a drill. And when it comes in contact with metal or wood or drywall, it continues based upon its force signature and its spin ratio and the amount of friction that it creates versus its overall cutting power. It doesn't lose momentum based upon the impact. It loses momentum because the overall friction and the resistance that it has, it stops. And then when that happens, if that doesn't obliterate your facility, it then explodes with 7,000 pounds of TNT in a confined space, but enough for the shockwave to reach its ecliptic point of damage and destruction. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. All right. Thanks for the rods. Story. This is Caitlin Clark, and this is what the hell's his name? The white-haired dude on CNN.
Anderson Cooper?
Yeah, Anderson Cooper. Here it is. Anderson likes it in the pooper. That's him. Here it is. Baby.
Now, we're hearing incredibly optimistic views coming out of the White House as far as how long this can hold and what this is going.
So Caitlin Clark, her name's not Caitlin Clark. What is it? That's the basketball player. What's her name? Caitlin something. I don't know. I'm just wondering if you know, dude. That's all. It's not Caitlin Clark.
Jenner?
No, gosh darn. No. Caitlin Clark is the basketball player. I don't even know. I care so little about these people. I don't even know their names. But anyway, the chick with an Adam's apple bigger than mine, she is sitting here.
That's not funny, Matt.
Right. She's sitting here talking about that these ceasefires aren't going to take place. And then Anderson Cooper breaks in and goes, guess what?
Going to look like. That obviously still remains to be seen on the implementation side.
Caitlin Collins is her name. I got it before everybody.
Of this, and waiting to see if the firing does stop and if Iran and Israel do both agree to this. Because, you know, speaking of the fluidity of the situation, it was just 24 hours ago that President Trump himself was suggesting a regime change in Iran was a possibility. And obviously right before that, having the United States strike Iran. And so, yes, there have been a lot of phone calls going back and forth. In part, this has to do with Iran's limited response earlier, where they fired on a U.S. base in Qatar. But there were no casualties. We know that they did give a heads up that they were going to be firing on U.S. bases without exactly specifying which ones. But that is the question here, is if the United States felt that it did not need to respond to the Iranian retaliation, did that create the space for this? That is what we've been hearing from administration officials. And so the question is whether or not this still holds for the next few hours.
Caitlin, I just been given word that Iran, according to a diplomat who briefed CNN, Iran has agreed to the ceasefire. So this is significant. I just want to try to learn some more information as soon as I get it about that.
She's but like, why am I always wrong?
That's incredibly significant because that is, we were waiting. We had not heard from Iran. We had not heard from Israel. All we were going on so far has been the president's.
She's like, this gay man keeps showing me up. I'm more of a lesbian than he is.
She's thinking, you could have told me 20 seconds ago.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up, Dick. You always got to steal a light, Anderson, even when you're over in Jew land.
That's exactly the look that she's portraying right now.
She's like, I'm more of a man than this douche plow.
Social media post, which was some 2 hours ago. So again, that is the.
She looks like a Vulcan. You know, she just looks like she's going to do a mind meld on his ass. Just eat his face.
First indication we have that Iran has agreed to this.
Wow, that's embarrassing. By the way, I keep getting told to check Venmo. I thought we did it. Reinstating my get out of jail free card. Love you guys. JD Stillwell paid us $25. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you, JD.
Yeah, we are still sitting at about $125 shy of goal, folks. We've had some good nights. We are 1 minute away from closing time, but we're going to stay on a little bit for some overtime because we really got to hit goal, folks. We can't miss it. Let's help out, see what we can do, and we would certainly appreciate it if you guys had a chance. Next video. Sonny Hostin claims that Trump committed war crimes. War crimes. I mean, come on. Are these people ever just going to stop?
That is the only way that they can justify the fascist claim, right? It's the only way they could do it.
Yeah, you know what? It's not even going to load, so I'm not even going to play it. Trump departed for NATO. And I did a video on this today, and a lot of you saw it, where Trump dropped the F-bomb. And yeah, and you know what? This is a great interview, and I'm playing it all. Let's hope we get some donations. I want to stay for overtime. Come on, folks, help us. I hate begging. Let's get it going. Mel Lowe, $51.99. Great photo analysis.
Aww.
Won't get this from Benny. No, Benny will steal it though.
No.
$226.33. We love you, Mel. Here's.
Thank you, Mel.
Here's King Trump addressing the media. By the way, that background looks great on you. It's like you're here, Leroy.
Thank you.
You got it.
You did a good job on that.
Thanks, buddy. Oh no. We're getting some X issues. This is an X thing. This has nothing to do with my internet. So I've got to shut her down and reopen it. Just take a second. All right, there it is.
No.
Here it is. Trump, King Trump, addressing the media.
But in all fairness, unloaded.
1 second.
And now I hear Israel just went out because they felt there was violated by one rocket that didn't land anywhere. That's not what we want, I'll tell you. And I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. All I do is play both sides. I'm going now, as you know, to NATO. Some of you are going with me, and I think it's going to be successful. We'll see. I'll let you know.
Are you going to be the agreement? It's a new dawn in the Middle East. Thanks to the agreement you managed to achieve. What are your future plans for the region?
Targets, those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean. Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. MSDNC, a guy named Brian Roberts, he heads it. He's a disgrace. He's a weak, pathetic disgrace.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. Happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Listen, man, I have graduated into a new breed of thinking.
Oh man.
I love him. I don't give a shit how abrasive he is or how rude he is or if he makes fun of people who are retarded or he makes fun of fat chicks. Every one of them deserve everything they get because they are so biased and they are so disreputable and they have no moral character. These people are scumbags. And if I was Trump, he tried to be nice. In 2016, he went on all the talk shows. They loved him, and then they turned on him and they tried to destroy him. They tried to Me Too him. They tried to set him up with Russian collusion. They tried to do the J6. Yes, he says stupid shit. Yes, I get it. I know all that. I don't care. I just don't care. I don't know. Patriot said it best, and he says Trump could say shit smells like shit, and they would disagree with him and say that it smells like roses. Are you okay? That's it. Okay, we're moving on. Nope. Leroy doesn't say much sometimes. What do you disagree? I mean, are you sick of him?
No,
Okay.
I am not sick of him at all.
Positive, really.
Go ahead.
There was a kind of one of the cornerstones to something called stoicism is that, you know, you go by what a man physically does, not what he says,
right,
before you judge him.
Right.
And Trump is just one of these guys who loves colorful language. He loves to say what the hell is on his mind, which is a refreshing change of pace when you're talking about the world of politics. But if you're going to judge him, you judge him based off of what he has done, not what he says.
Can I?
That's my take.
Can I say something that is really important here. I am hearing about this preliminary classified report about the Iran nuclear sites that somebody leaked to the New York Times. Let me say something. And I want to be really, really clear, and I want Leroy, I want you to chime in on this.
Sure.
You should find the person who linked that. They should be arrested, bound, and gagged. And they should be taken to Guantanamo Bay and thrown in a cell. Because let me explain what you just did. If this is true, and those were not effective, and those GBU 57s failed, which I do not buy at all. But if you're going to tell me that they failed, you just let every fucking terrorist group and rival state that they need to dig 250 feet and they're all going to try to go nuclear. You just weakened this country by releasing something that can damage us to a point of no return. You've told every bad guy out there that the United States cannot hit these sites effectively and cannot HK these targets. If that's true, this person should go to jail for the rest of their fucking life. And if I was the DOJ and I was Pam Bondi, I would find out who leaked it, or I'd take the reporter and throw them in Leavenworth until they release the source. Because this is about national security, and this isn't about Gestapo. This is not a fucking joke. This is serious. I don't think it's real, but whatever. Leroy, your thoughts? Melanie Marino, 2110, great show. Go X. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Melanie, and everybody who helps, you guys have crushed this. 1,512 people on. 1391 on Twitter. 33 on YouTube, 88 on Facebook. It's great to see X killing it, and we really appreciate you. Go ahead, Leroy.
We go out of our way on this channel to get you the most accurate information. Sometimes there's some speculation thrown in there, and it's mostly just because if something hasn't concluded, if things are still ongoing, then you really can't come up with a solid conclusion until all the reports are in. But we try to give you a solid indicator of what's headed where. But we do so without compromising national security. I've nor Matt nor myself have ever said anything on this show that is quote unquote classified. And I go out of my way to make sure that you will sometimes see me just like clam up as I try to formulate a sentence, because I want to make sure that I'm not saying anything that's going to get me landed in jail.
Right.
So for this guy to release a report intentionally, it makes me reflect a little bit. It makes me reflect back on when when Trump had his Mar-a-Lago residence invaded, because everyone thought that he had, top secret material there, and they were ready to throw him in jail then.
Yeah.
The former president of the United States at the time, they were ready to hang that man out to dry. Here's a guy who does not have any of the same protections, and if he has truly compromised something like that, then he should go away.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, they should bury him under the jail.
The illusion of superiority is sometimes more important than being superior. And if you take away the fear, a lot of people don't build underground sites because they know the U.S. will just simply eradicate them. But if you just openly told everyone how to beat the United States, you're an idiot. And like everyone involved should be black bagged and tagged and made an example of. I'm sorry. This national security is where I draw the line, just like Leroy. Laura Loomer. I am so sick of the Hodge twins and Candace Owens and Jake Shields, and like Nick Fuentes doesn't even bother me anymore because he's now tame compared to these people. Candace Owens has gone full fucking Nazi. Like full Nazi.
What did she say now?
Oh, she's just like Donald Trump is a converted Jew, and he did it in hiding, and Netanyahu is this, Netanyahu is that, and just espousing that the Holocaust didn't happen. that Israel broke 912 ceasefires, and then the number goes to 5,000. I mean, she's just fucking nuts. Like, Candace Owens is the definition of was blackish. Now she's just a crazy cure. I can't stand the girl. And the Hodge twins are like, oh, well, we're not betraying Trump. We're just questioning everything he says and calling him a Zionist. Oh yeah, these people. They're pathetic. But Laura Loomer, I'm going to show
that
because it's money.
It makes no sense.
Because there is a huge contingency on Twitter that hates Israel, dude. Hates Israel. Candace is a disruptor. Candace is fucking crazy. She's not a disruptor. She's an idiot. This woman believes the Holocaust was fake. This woman believes that the USS Liberty, the Jews purposely attacked it. She believes that the dancing Jews caused 9/11. She believes that everything that's wrong with the world is because of Jews and the Rothschilds and Israel and Zionists. Everything. She blames the Bolshevik Revolution on the Jews. Candace Owens denies the moon landing. Candace Owens is the National Enquirer and a box of Entenmann's. She's psycho. I can't stand her. I used to love her. I thought she was an amazing person. Hodge twins, I was big. But Hodge twins had David Duke on.
What did you love about her, though? Because I have an opinion about that.
She was articulate. She was a bulldog. She espoused conservative principles. She was able to talk about the Great Society and how it was a detriment to black people. She encouraged that. Hold on, you asked. She encouraged family values. She called out, like Bill Cosby and others, that single families were the detriment and the overall destruction of the African American family. That the crack epidemic was not necessarily the government's fault because of the habitual attitudes weren't there, and the surrendering of one's morals and scruples was not there. They wouldn't have been able to take advantage of them. Candace Owens was an excellent litigator for the conservative cause. Now she's post-mortem, and Ben Shapiro broke her. Go ahead.
The only reason I say that is because of everything that you just said there, though. I can only recall basically her hardline stance on the Great Society and basically calling out FDR, and during that time frame, basically painting the picture that the Democrat Party of the day was, the gateway drug of how we got to where we are today. But most of the other stuff, I couldn't recall. I didn't even remember it, because the only thing I could remember about Candace Owens when I was trying to reflect back on it was just her attitude and the way she was articulate, the way she would pick a point out in a conversation and go after it and break it down, which I thought was refreshing at the time. But her actual opinions, like I couldn't recall half of them.
Yeah, well, this is what happens when Ben Shapiro breaks you. You all of a sudden blame the entire state of Israel and everyone in America who's Jewish. Mel, sorry you waited so long, hun. Are we going to go backwards and talk about Iran, or are we going to move forwards?
No, just on this I call it a security breach.
Yeah.
With leak, and they've already done one set of polygraphs for certain whatever part of the government, whatever. It's got to be done. Like, this shit's got to be rooted out. That's treasonous to the country.
Oh yeah.
It's not freedom of speech. It's not. This has got to stop.
CID should be having a field day right now.
Well, yeah, and there should be a lot of door knocking, whatever. And the journalists, like you said, should be taken, thrown in Guantanamo Bay, stay there until I don't agree.
I agree
that have to give up their sources, but in this case, this is national security. It's different than your local. Oh, I saw somebody having an affair with whatever. Like, that's not this.
Yeah, this is different.
This is national
This is
security.
different.
There's different rules. So I'm very, very concerned, and it's becoming more prominent.
Yes.
Now, and it stopped for a little while, but it's now starting again.
Yeah. Well,
So-
this is serious. You
serious.
see how seriously we take it, talking about some technologies that are 30 years old, and I'm like, I'm not talking
No, I
about
know.
that. But you're sitting here, and you're talking and releasing a confidential report
Yeah.
This is, in my opinion, like Snowden was a douche, and Snowden did this for his own benefit, because he got disenfranchised with the U.S. government. But I'm sorry, you don't get a boner for those systems unless you enjoy doing what you're doing, and he did. And he spied on people with no issues, and he was good at it. And then he decided to go ahead and go to the #1 enemy of the United States to seek solace. And he could have went to a lot of non-extradition countries that wouldn't have done the irreparable damage that he did to the intelligence community. But that is information that, even though I disagree with it, the government needed to be exposed for what it was doing. So it's a catch-22. Snowden should be held accountable to the utmost extent, and so should those people who broke our laws. This is not that. This is absolutely ridiculous. Mel, can I ask you one more question that's off topic of this? And Leroy, I want to ask you too.
Yeah.
Sure.
If the Jews are so fucking powerful, why don't they use their Jewish space lasers to blow up Iran?
I've asked myself the same question. I'm like,
Can you cures in the audience, you nut fucks who are listening right now? And I know there's some of you got to be out there. Explain to me why the Jews aren't using Jewish space lasers to literally just destroy Iran. Because I mean, they set Maui on fire. They set California on fire. Do you think Iran might be a little dry this time of year? Can they set that on fire?
Oh no, but they also lit Canada on fire too. Like,
Jewish space lasers. They do it.
They're doing it.
Do you think that the government could create a fucking hurricane? Because it's a little hot and dry here, and I would really appreciate some cooler weather. So if the government could just create a hurricane, and then also I'd really appreciate it. I am missing Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I'm missing her quality conversations on the postmodernistic family values. And I'm wondering if they could clone her so we could just get her back. Would that be okay? We can do that too.
Well, no, then she could go slap Kajanji, Jackson Brown or whatever her name is, upside head and go, look, girlfriend, you're wrong.
Well,
but anyways,
Masoud Pesheshkian just said he announced the end of the 12-day war. That just flashed. I think Thomas put it up too. Pesheshkian just said officially, remember what they said is that Iran and Israel did not openly agree to the ceasefire. Well, they just openly admitted to the ceasefire. The media, nothing they say is true. Everything they say is a lie. And it's not for your consumption. It's for the people who don't understand the difference between propaganda and fact. If you want to catch the media in the lie, give it 24 hours and you'll see. They were just on there saying neither side has agreed to this. Netanyahu says no. Pezeshkian says no as well. They just openly admit it, that the 12-day war, the 7-second war is over. Thank God World War III is over, folks. Where were you during World War III?
I'm going to get that
sitting
shirt.
on my deck waiting for the blizzard because you guys are in the heat dome. And I was lighting my wood stove because we were getting snow here on the West Coast. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
I'm just saying that if the Jews and the U.S. weren't successful, it's about time the Jews broke out the space lasers. Those Jewy lasers really need to go to work on those nuclear facilities. So if they could do that, we would appreciate it.
They really do.
Love you, Mel. Bye.
Love you.
Bye, Mel.
All right, Laura Loomer. Listen, I don't do this very often. I respect the fact that she has an RE20. I respect the fact that she has millions of followers and she makes 10 times more money than we do. We don't care. We have something called integrity. And I have always told you for the last 4 years, I will never peddle anything that I don't consume or take part in myself here. That's why we talk about PFC flags. That's why we talk about T.S. Dixon, Tonto Peranto's book, our quality product. And we only sell things that are really good. But I will tell you what, Laura fucking Loomer, man, this is a new low for her. And all I can say is just watch this with glee, because I don't care how much money you could give. First of all, I hope it's kosher dog food because she says she's Jewish.
Hey, Gian, I was just wondering if she was going to start peddling Bibles or something.
Oh no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. Watch this.
positive. Really.
Hey, folks, we're $53 from goal. We need your help. $53. Hey, can I have some water, please? We're $53 from goal. We really want to hit it, folks. We need some help. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Here it is.
An amazing company. Not only do they have these emergency pet kits, but they also have these supplements here. And this is human grade. Okay, this is human grade, and I just want to show you now. I'm going to actually do this live on air so you can see for yourself, okay? 100% human grade ingredients is what it says here on the package. Dude. And the ingredients are Alberta grass-finished bison liver, Alberta grass-finished bison heart, Alberta grass-finished kidney.
Ugh.
These are the same type of nutrients that you can find in the beef organs that you purchase for yourself, right? But this is all protected bison that comes from Canada. So that means that there's no hormones, there's no vaccines given to the bison. So you could actually share these nutrients with your animals. So you could eat this yourself. And I'm going to show you, this isn't a gimmick. This is not just
she's gonna get
some
worms.
Trash dog food from China. Okay. These are supplements and these are products that are so healthy and natural that you can.
So I just wanted to let you guys know that Laura Loomer's last injection went a little wrong. We've got photos of it, and I just wanted to let you know it's not quite as good as it. I want to play a game. Jigsaw. Anyway, here's the rest.
This liver.
And
can't
some
eat
favo.
this entire liver.
And on some favo beans.
Then I'm going to sacrifice a bison.
Eat it yourself.
A bison
so
every
you can
day
see here,
until all the
positive bison,
Democrats have cried.
It clearly says dog food topper. And I'm going to put this in my mouth right now.
Oh, say that slower.
It tastes like meat. And
you think so, huh?
Maybe that is disgusting to you.
It's fucking disgusting to me, lady.
This is the bison product right here. It clearly says dog food topper. You can see on camera.
Listen, I knew Laura Loomer was low, but I didn't know she would put anything in her mouth for money. Maybe I did.
Actually tastes good.
Oh,
I'm not going to lie. So
you're lying.
100% human grade ingredients, nutrition for your dog in every bite. It's so healthy that you could even eat it yourself.
I don't.
Wow.
Money's important to me, but my self-respect is more important to me.
I'm just saying, she just sat there literally and ate dog food.
Yeah, for her money. And
for an endorsement. Yeah.
Folks, I watch Alex Jones and everybody just to kind of get an idea. Like, I wouldn't try methylene blue. I am not going to try anything with methylene in it. I'm not going to try anything that turns my piss blue or my teeth blue. No, I'm not going to do it. Everyone's like, well, for cognitive recognition, I don't care. I'll do a crossword puzzle. Some of this shit that they eat, and you guys, you got to stop peddling this stuff. You don't know where it's from. I mean, it could be liberals literally who create a company just so you're an idiot who eats dog food. We don't know. I have been approached by some pretty crazy ass things, and I turn it down because I want local, made in America companies. That's what I want. And I don't know about eating bison liver, but here's the thing: we will make up stories about kids being eaten and drinking androchrome blood, but
right.
Eating bison liver and dog food is okay. This is where psychosis and normality, this is where it begins. Eating dog food online. Will you sponsor us, Laura? Sure, I will. Can you get your dog to come on the show and eat? Oh, fuck, I'll do one better. I'll eat it.
Yeah.
My dog only eats peanut butter when I'm alone with her. It's disgusting. Anyway,
that is nasty.
Top rated information. You're going to like this. This is Theo and Thomas Massey. You've probably seen Theo's show. He's a comedian. He does a podcast.
Theo
Thomas
Vaughn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. Theo. Here's, yeah. Cognitive recognition, whatever. They're going to say it causes cancer sin. Yeah. So does Prevagen. You know, let's go ahead and just eat jellyfish. Sure. Sounds good. Prevagen. It's the thought maker. Okay. And then next month, jellyfish causes cirrhosis of the liver, and creates a biochemical agent inside of you that mutilates your liver and spreads to another host. Folks, aspirin is good for us one day. Then it's bad. Then it's good. Then it's bad. Then it's bad. What about egg whites? Good, bad, yolk, no yolk. Come on. Nobody knows. But I'm not going to put something in my body that I just don't know. So I'll try the methylamine, okay? I'll try it. Do I snort it? Do I smoke it? Do I drop it into my eyeball? What do I do? You know what I use for cognitive function? Reading. Does wonders. Does great for it's helped my brain for 51 years, folks.
Try learning a language or picking up an instrument, reading a book, any of those.
Yeah. How about watching this show more? That'll help. How about donating?
I've seen Theo Vaughn before. I like him.
I like him too, but this is Thomas Massey just hates Jews. Okay. I'm just letting you know. The guy just hates Jews. It's just what it is. Everyone's like, oh my God, he's a libertarian. He's such a good dude. He's from Kentucky. No, he just hates Jews. I mean, this is just listen.
Do you feel like Israel is a fair ally? Are they a good ally for us?
Well,
or is that too general of a question?
Well, I think it doesn't matter. Like, there's no big, giant, Great Britain lobby. There's no Australian lobby. There's no German lobby.
Oh, the other countries don't have them.
No, not like this. This is singular. This is unique.
No. China, $456.9 million. You can go to opensecrets.org. Japan, Liberia, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, Marshall Islands, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Bahamas, Bermuda. Bermuda gives $192.7 million.
Bermuda does?
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Country. Now, as far as a political action committee, yes, Jews give the most, almost $111 million. There's no doubt about it.
Why would anyone bitch about that? I mean, given they had such far left-leaning roots, like obviously most of that money goes to the Democrat Party, yeah?
Oh, isn't that interesting that that's the truth? That AICPAC gives most of their $70 million to the Democrats. They put in $3 million going against Republicans and gave $33 million to Republican campaigns. There are plenty of countries that have large influence over our politicians. But we also give $3.6 billion to the Jews. And you have to understand, maybe it's because everyone keeps talking shit about the Jews that they need to go ahead and stay with their image. They need to give money to people because everyone is sitting and buying into this, that the Jews are the devil of the world. Here's Thomas Massey. Listen to his crap.
I mean, if you're an ally, why wouldn't we work with you? Why do you have to convince us that you're our ally? Why do you have to basically go into every congressional office and convince them? And it's because they want to keep the money flowing, and that they've got a good return on their investment. I mean, we send more foreign aid to Israel than to any other country.
Not true. We send more foreign aid to Ukraine than Israel, Afghanistan before it, Iraq before. It's a lie. You're lying. You're lying. Now, do we get foreign aid? Also isn't military aid. Foreign aid is for food, infrastructure, copper, minerals, vitamins, drugs. So if you want to do all-in foreign aid, methylene blue, dog food made of buffalo liver. If you want to do all-in, they are not even close. But if you want to do military, well, then yes, Israel is right up there. But Ukraine is passing them.
They're, like 10 million people or something.
Yeah, I think
Tennessee, I don't know the population in Tennessee, but it's probably about, on that order.
Yeah, I think this year they said we spent like $12 billion, but that's not actual dollars. It's in military aid, right?
Yeah, it's it's dollars
like
that comes out of the Treasury. Yeah, but it's not like we give them. It's a gift certificate that's redeemable at Lockheed Martin and your local Raytheon.
Okay, got it. So that's kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Why do they have this carve out that's just for them? Like what do we get from Israel, do you feel like?
Oh, come on. Come on, Massey.
We got a lot of countries that hate us. It's one of the things we get.
Well, especially right now with this stuff in Gaza, I think it's one of the worst PR campaigns I've ever seen in my life. If they're even, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, I just don't, it gives their government this extremely evil look to me, and I think to a lot of people,
Well, rough numbers, there are 2 million people in Gaza and 50,000 have been killed. It's 2.5%.
I find it interesting that the man doesn't know the population of Tennessee, but he knows the population of Gaza. Can you say a Qatarian? Love you, buddy. Good night.
Like they've killed 1 in 40 people in Gaza. If you did that in the United States, if you did 2.5% of 350 million, it'd be almost 10 million people dead.
Yeah.
In the United States.
Oh my God.
Everybody in Gaza.
So if you just make up a bunch of numbers, it's bad. Yeah, I love when you just make up a bunch of numbers. Thank you, Mel. Go ahead, Leroy.
Thank you, Mel. No, I think that's a shitty argument to say that, by comparison, because it's not per capita. You're not saying that. You're taking the population from a smaller country and trying to apply it to a much bigger country. It doesn't work that way.
Well, Leroy,
that would be like saying that if a murder happened in a house, that 50% of the people in that house got killed. Oh, now let's apply it to the U.S. Oh, that's 150 million people.
But
Leroy, doesn't work that way.
There's 2 billion, camel jockeys in the world. So honestly, killing 40,000 of them is really only indicative of 0.0012%. So this isn't that big of a deal. It's literally like choking somebody out on the subway, like Daniel Penny did. It's not a big deal, Leroy. Stop being so excessive. What a dick. Why do you hate Muslims, dude?
To somebody who's been killed, like at least a first cousin you had killed.
Dude, there's so many logical fallacies in the last 2 minutes of this conversation.
Oh my God.
It's like
and that's a funny thing too. For anybody who's been watching this show for any length of time, it was a couple months back when I did that 23andMe, right? Found out that I'm like, partly black, partly Egyptian, partly Syrian.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so for Matt to make that comment about why do you hate Muslims? Like it's when that's I'm sure if you go back not 1 or 2 generations, somewhere in my family there was one of them that tried to blow themselves up or something.
Yeah, and understand, folks, we're trying to make the point of how stupid this sounds. This girl Mario, I kind of like the name is interesting. If they don't like it, they should change the law to designate AIPAC a foreign agent, but they won't. The Catholic Church is from Rome. We doing them too. Exactly. This is a perfect example. It's a wonderful point because I can't even just add to it. It's such a perfect statement. Because if you
spot on.
Look at Saudi Arabia, look at China, and yes, they may not be a political action committee, but look what they do in our universities. Look how much money they influence our education system. Something to think about.
Yeah.
She's absolutely right. Introduce legislation.
We give them it's a gift certificate.
I just don't give
0.5% of 350 million. It'd be almost 10 million people dead. In the United States. Everybody in Gaza is at this point related to somebody who's been killed. Like at least a first cousin you had killed. And then if you say how many have been maimed, it's probably Alabama. 3 or 4 times that. So everybody in Gaza knows people who've been killed and maimed.
And we're supporting it, right? That's also the part that makes it really tough sometimes to just be a person. It's like our tax money is going towards this, but I just hope that people in some of these.
Do you know how many Congolese died and you people don't give a shit? Yeah. Do you know there was 350,000 Iraqis that were murdered by the U.S. government? And you don't give a shit about these. Oh, it's really tough. I'm up at night when I'm counting me laying in beds of money from my advertisements for fucking dog food that tastes like buffalo. And I'm just so perplexed. Give me a break. You don't give a shit about Gazans.
5 fucking Americans could have told you where Rwanda was prior to the genocide.
Right.
But after Don Cheadle makes a movie about it, then all of a sudden,
right,
it's an Academy Award winner. No,
people are
don't hand
still
me that
referencing
shit.
blood diamonds.
You didn't care then.
Yeah.
You didn't care then, and you don't give a fuck now.
You don't give a fuck about Kenya. You don't care about AIDS. You don't care about any of that shit. Okay? There are countries that are still facing bubonic plague type viruses. You don't care. There's people whose stomachs are falling out of their fucking belly buttons, and you guys are like, who? You don't know where Gaza is. And you had no idea what Natanz was. You had no idea what Esfahan was. You didn't know anything. You guys thought nuclear weapons in Iran. They already have nukes, don't they? North Korea's got a nuke. You guys don't. You don't care. You only care what the media tells you. So I'm sorry that Gazans are dying.
They only care so long as whatever the narrative is of the moment puts more power in their political end of the court. That's all it's for.
91% of Gazan of adult age believe that every single Jew on the planet should be murdered. 91%. Think about that. And you tell me that. I will say it again. And this wasn't mine. I'm stealing it. And I think it was Charlie Kirk who said it. Or it was Jack Prosobic. I don't know, it was somebody. But they were on Rogan. Here it is. If Hamas surrendered tomorrow, the leaders, the people who perpetrated October 7th would be held accountable. Some of them would be executed summarily with trial. Some of them would be hung, not hung, but life imprisonment. Some of them would do 20 years. Some of them would be set free on their own recognizance, whatever. But it would be accepted in a ceasefire. If Jews laid down their weapons tomorrow and surrendered to Hamas, every single Jew in Israel would be put to death summarily.
Yeah.
That's the fucking difference between these two people. Two differences. This is not a war based on ethics and majority. This isn't a war that's based upon honor. This isn't the samurai. This isn't the Ronin. These are people who believe that anyone who is not Muslim deserves to die. That homosexuals deserve to die. Christians deserve to die. Orthodox deserves to die. Anyone who is against them deserves to die. Anyone who does not accept Allah. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. And Theo, I love that you're sad, but if I threw you in the middle of Gaza, if I threw you in the middle of Egypt, if I put you in Morocco, you would be dead by morning.
That's
dead
fair.
By morning. Especially with that fucking mullet. They would cut you up quicker than they would know you're an American. Because you just scream American. You just don't know what you guys are talking about. I know a lot of Muslims who I will love and I will lay down my life for. I know a lot of Jews I would do the same. And I also know some that I don't like. But for you to lump an entire group of people because Israel said, you know what? We're done. This little social experiment since it's going on since 1988 with Hamas is over. We created them. We made the mistake. We're going to fix it. And I'm sorry if people don't like it, but we've been doing this since the dawn of time. Why do we care now? Because it's in front of us and we don't like to see it, and it's on TV. If Vietnam was on TV like this, we would have felt the same way, but it wasn't. And Iraq, Iraq looked like a fucking a sausage fest. A bunch of guys. You didn't see the IEDs. You didn't see the clacking off of vests. You didn't see guys coming home without arms and legs. You didn't see that until Afghanistan. You didn't see it until the airports. But war sucks and people die.
I see a lot of tweets basically saying, oh, well, because this was all placed at Trump's feet, that they should sign Barron up and he should be the first one with a gun in Iran, to face Israel and this kind of thing. And I keep thinking to myself, it's all fun and games to you fuckers because none of you served. The people that actually serve do not want war. Maybe some of them do, but it's a pretty low percentage. But it seems like the people that come from the far left that are there to attack Trump, they're all for signing. They do want it. At least that's how it seems to me. I see a lot of those types of opinions. They have several opinions about war and what we should get involved with and what we should steer clear from. But they never have the mettle to throw their own hat in the ring. It's always somebody else's fight. It's always, oh, well, sign little Timmy up, sign Johnny up for this. I won't be there, but you guys can go fight for my freedom. Nobody seems to have the balls to do that themselves. Pisses me off.
It's always the people who almost served. I love those people. Oh, I almost served. Yeah. When they start that conversation,
yeah,
like just give me the rope, like airplane. Just pour gas over myself and strike the match. It's ridiculous. That bad. All right, we're gonna end with this. Zelensky was in a suit. He shaved.
Wow.
I think.
Did he have on that hula girl dress thing? Did he?
Listen, the gypsy.
You know what
outfit.
I'm talking about, where he did the.
Yeah. I remember. This is. Listen, I don't know for sure. It may not be him, but let's see. Is it Zelensky? Let's take a look. This flashed across my screen.
Is he in green and yellow?
I don't know. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's not Zelensky behind. No. Somebody's full of shit. Hold on. Everyone's like, Zelensky wore a suit. Let's see. Oh my God, he did.
Oh, he John Wicked it. Oh, I got you.
Oh, look at him. He doesn't even have a tie on. He's all black. He looks like an Alcatraz inmate. It looks like he just escaped from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood.
He looks like he just came from a little Hobbit funeral.
Oh, I love it. He looks like a homosexual Popeye.
Oh my God.
It looks like he's in Dress Blues, but he forgot his cover.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Cover on.
He didn't shave. Look at him. Look at that midget.
Does someone have a booster seat for me?
Yeah. I want a phased plasma rifle in 40-watt range. Just what you see, pal. 9mm Uzi. Sarah Connor. Yes. Kadoosh, kadoosh. All right, folks. We finished up on Twitter. We had over 200 likes on Facebook. That's huge. 1,445 people on Twitter, which is an exciting number. This was a good show. Was hoping that we would. I was hoping we would crush a little bit more, but I will tell you what, we finished number 1 on X. I'm beside myself. I'm so happy right now. Look at this. We're ahead of OAN. They're at 900. So that's an official news network, 1.4K. Roz Alert, Sean K, the king at 20. Sean, we know what that feels like. Hang in there, buddy. It'll get better, dude. Trust me. But I'm very, very happy with where we're at. Leroy, I love our Thursdays and Tuesdays, man. It was fun. Why don't you take your minute and we'll go out with a bang.
It was just a really good show. We like to be able to do the math for you and actually explain what goes into some of the intelligence process. So when we're looking at BDA of some of the Iranian facilities without all of the bells and whistles and without spilling any of the confidential information like some other networks, then it's fun to be able to do that, and it's fun to be able to do enough of the math to remove some level of the skepticism, right? Because again, we saw what wherever that report came from that suggested that Natanz was only set back 3 to 6 months.
And nobody would say that, by the way, as an assessment.
For us to go in and with math and kind of reevaluate that and put some of that to bed, I thought that was. I like those kinds of shows. And again, folks, I mean, this is one of those shows where we like to dispel some of those myths. You can either support the country you live in or live in the country that you support. And I think that the U.S. is the greatest country that has ever been. And I'm here for it. That's why I signed up. So love you guys.
Yeah,
Matt, it was a great show.
It was. We're going to be back on tomorrow night with myself. Amy will be in studio. Leroy was in studio in spirit. By the way, Al Green presented today. articles of impeachment to the floor. I think it was struck down 300 and something to 77. Even Democrats, 128 of them or so, basically told him to go pound sand. You guys, he's your president. You got him for 3.5 years. He's fucking untouchable. If you couldn't take him down financially, if you couldn't take him down criminally, if you couldn't take him down trying to kill him,
they try to kill him.
You're fucking toast.
Yeah.
You guys are toast. He's your president. And honestly, you guys should focus on working with the man, earning some credibility so you guys actually stand a chance in the midterms, because right now he's on fire. I'll tell you what, Israel and Iran, if he solves this and the Middle East unifies around the Abraham Accords, everything, he will be probably the most popular president in U.S. history. You need to hear what I'm saying to you. Obama right now is the most popular president, and Obama didn't do shit. If Donald Trump creates peace in the Middle East, brings oil prices down, makes your gas cheaper than dirt, and everybody makes out, and the canals open up, the straits are opened up, free trade, money is coming in hand over fist. If that takes place, he hands down will be the best president ever to serve in this country. That is something you need to be aware of. Last donation, Mr. Hollandaise Sauce, part Trace, donated. I will skip an energy drink tomorrow, so skip that. Starbucks best coffee is in the dumb store. That's true. We have the best coffee. Hey, folks, thanks for watching. We're going to end it right there. 312.28. It's a good round number. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me Show. Twitter people, please follow. Don't just come in here. Follow and keep sharing this shit so we continue to grow on X, Twitter, whatever it's called. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Love you.
See you, buddy.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.